All right, welcome to episode 108 of the Permaculture PIMPcast, the only PIMPcast on planet Earth where we discuss permaculture, preparedness, and practical living. How you doing, son?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. Always good when I know this episode is brought to you by Hickory Ridge Soap from Two Old Crows, Homestead.com.
Turn that simp into a pimp.
Bam! Also, y'all, Heaven's Harvest 10% off with promo code PERMA. All them seeds out there are kicking, and we couldn't be more pleased. But remember, all your preparedness needs, you can find it over there. But if you'd like, you can always tip a pimp on the Fountain app, where you can listen to all your podcasts over there at double, triple the speed, whatever the case. But most importantly, you can also lay down some grip to your homestead pimp. That's what you can do. I just made that up, son. Yeah, so you can do that in the form of sats over there. You know, it's not going to be your dead presidents. But honestly, you can listen to all your podcasts over there. Not a bad place to check it out. So, tip of the day. Use an unknown way home. Now, that's going into that preparedness thing, but it's also setting us up for one of the programs I'm going to do coming up in the near future. And what I'm trying to do is every time you do something differently, and I'm going to go into great detail and the results that I'm getting, because I try not to foreshadow too much what I'm currently doing or the experiments I'm conducting until I actually get them done. And we're going to talk about a little bit of something that's going on right now. But the reason I'm telling you this is that it's opening up options and opportunities in your mind for a whole bunch of things. There are people I know that have moved into a place. And it could be in a neighborhood. It could be any number of things. You go to work, you come home. And just about every single time, you're going to take the most direct way home, but just spin it out of the way a little bit. Instead of going straight to the house, drive in and out of a neighborhood. Just start that way. And then take another neighborhood. It may be 2 minutes off your path, but you are opening paths in your mind in so many different ways. We're going to talk about that probably on Monday. I'm going to go into greater detail about that. But I want you, if you can, start taking those other options, because I'm achieving benefits in myself. I'm more busy now in my life than I've ever been. And at the same time, I'm growing faster than I ever have. And I'm going to expose some of the ways I'm doing it. So just consider that tip right now. We'll talk more about some of the others probably on Monday. So with that said, we're going to jump straight into the farm news. Well, son, yesterday marks probably the first time I can remember going to a movie theater. Yeah.
In a long time.
In a long time. In fact, it's been so long that your mom says, hold on, they got recliners and all these now. I'm like, yeah, it's been that long. I guess all theaters got recliners now.
Yeah, that's just the way they're built now.
Yeah, they're like, they got recliners, and she's like, what, there's assigned seating? I'm like, yeah, you picked it out. I mean, when I bought the tickets, I'm like, man, has it been that long?
Like, she's mad about it. Like, nobody else can take your seat. Like, yeah, she's just like, mad about it.
I'm like, okay, I picked this, in the center. I prefer not to be, how it is in a movie theater when you had a bunch of seats. Most guys I know, I mean, this happened once in our lives. Most guys I know are always going to pick, I don't know, at least if you're me, I'm always putting myself to the very back of the theater ever since you were a little kid.
Yep. You can't do that at the Mount Pleasant Theater, though.
No.
Because that last row ain't higher than the one in front of it.
No. I mean, but we always do that. I've always done that ever since you were a little kid. Always pick the back row for a whole variety of reasons. For tactical reasons, really. And I've always done it that way. But this one here, we get in, and there's like assigned seating. And, yeah, it's been that long. So we went and saw that Sound of Freedom. And folks, I got to tell you right off, I'm not trying to make it a downer, but it is the most important film in America by far. Not even close. There's not even a close second. And I went to go see it because, number one, I'm a big fan of Jim Caviezel. The guy's a fantastic actor. And he knocked it out of the park with this. But more importantly, the story that's getting exposed, folks, you will find out why we fall over ourselves to raise money for Vets for Child Rescue. Just watch this film, and it's only giving you the thumbnail version. It's a hard movie to watch, and I'll be honest with you, I cried. I wasn't 15 minutes into this thing, and I was crying because my heart goes out to all these little ones, the horror, the dread, the terror they feel, and the movie gives you a good sense of that. I'm not going to give any spoiler alerts, but they were only covering, it was like when I was talking to Seth Holhouse, you wish they would go further, and personally, I wish that they would have exposed the elite that are mixed up in this sort of thing.
Right.
Of course, it's only a 2-hour movie. They can't cover all that. And honestly, had they covered that angle, this movie, they were trying to release this thing for 5 years. It was made 5 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
5 years ago. And this thing couldn't get out. And if they did anything on the elites, maybe this ain't where it comes out. Maybe there's another movie. Maybe Mel Gibson covers it. Maybe somebody else does. But folks, I know money's tight and I know things are hard. And honestly, please go see this movie. You'll understand why we are the biggest advocates in the world for these children that are suffering right now. I pray for them every single day. And I ask you to do the same. When people say to me, well, praying is the only thing I can do. Well, it's the most you can do.
Right.
It's not the least you can do. It's the most you can do. First of all, get on your knees. Pray for these little ones. The numbers, we in the United States of Amnesia are the number one consumer of this. But they don't tell you that in the movie. And of course, they can't. They got to tell a story a different way. And honestly, this story is more compelling because it's based on real life events. It's got to be more compelling to tell it the way they did. But keep in mind, this stuff, according to the late, great Russ Dizdar, is happening in every neighborhood in America.
Yeah, yeah.
So stay alert, stay alive, folks. That's what I'm trying to get out there.
I've got some farm news. Emily and I's debit cards were hacked, apparently, by the biggest simp in the world, apparently. So, like, Emily's checking out the bank account. She sees $200 charges on my card to OnlyFans.
What?
To OnlyFans.
What's that?
It's okay. All right. Well, I didn't think I'd have to explain this part, but maybe some other people. It's where like amateur adult stars go and post their stuff that you have to purchase yourself. That's what the website is. It's like this huge
That's
thing.
what you've been getting into?
No, Dad. PIMP. So, no, that's not what happened. The charges came out of Florida, but the dude spent $200 total on this stuff. I'm not mad that there's $200 missing from the account. I'm mad of all the people in the world who could have hacked our account. It had to be the world's biggest simp. He needs some Hickory Ridge soap, Dad. Yeah.
Well, so that's what we've been dealing with.
She wasn't even concerned. She knows who she's dealing with. She knows she married a PIMP, Dad. And she listens to the show.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you this, man. The card hacking, all that stuff. Well, do they give you your money back?
Yeah, they gave me the money back. And the apparently what's really common is whenever you purchase stuff for travel, because we're about to go to her brother-in-law's wedding. Whenever you purchase stuff for travel, that's apparently when they get you. And we just got like tickets, rental car, hotel, all that type of stuff. And apparently that's when it is most likely to happen. Or it happened at the rodeo last night or July 4th.
Well, that's why I like them RFID wallets, man. They can get in here. Well, I got aluminum foil stuffed up in mine. And yeah. So, cop pulls me over, frisks me down or whatever. Oh, look what we got here. We got this guy. He's got aluminum foil in his wallet. Yeah. It's to keep it works better than an RFID wallet.
Well, they can get you when you pull it out and then stick it in the little scanner thing. They have the thing that goes over it. So, y'all, apparently the banker that was helping me out the other day told me that she uses her credit card to make all the purchases and then just pays it off every 2 weeks. Well, so that way it kind of insulates you, apparently. Or just use cash when you can.
Or you can do like your Uncle Dion and get some fly miles out of the deal. I mean,
the credit card?
Yeah, that's what he does, and then just pays it off, as I'm not sure how all that stuff works. I didn't even know what this site was.
OnlyFans.
Yeah. Well, okay. I heard the name before. I had no idea what it was. I just thought it was like a Patreon or something.
Nope. Nope.
Oh, okay.
We won't be going over there, y'all.
Yeah, I guess y'all won't be finding us over there.
Would you imagine that?
Yeah, I'm going to take my shirt off? Nah, I don't think so, man. Yeah. All right, well, right now you can find us on Patreon. We're going to be looking for some option Bs. Patreon's been playing games. Of course, they're affiliated with YouTube. And every time you turn around, there just seems to be a problem. But it only seems to happen with the freedom-minded folks.
Right.
All right, so other farm news. We got some bomb compost out there. And we've been showing the folks on Patreon how to do it, how we've been doing it. And we did the latest assessment on this stuff.
Right.
And if you have basically 135 micrograms of bacteria per gram and fungus 135 micrograms, we are... considerably higher. We got somewhere in the neighborhood of 500 of bacteria and I don't know, 400 of bacteria, 500, and it's only going higher. In fact, the fungus is going through the roof. 100 nematodes per gram. We got 200. This compost out there, y'all, is kicking, and we're showing everybody how to do it on Patreon right now.
This hit me while I was in the shower. Also, another thing to make it like legit compost is that you can't see any of the bad guys in there.
Yeah.
Like the spirochetes or anything like that. You can't see any of those guys.
Ciliates, yeah.
Yeah. So this goes back. Do you remember that? And the reasoning is because they get outcompeted by the aerobic bacteria. Do you remember that 18-day compost video we did a while back where that troll was on there going on about E. coli?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just found out I was right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. If it's aerobic, a lot of these, facultative, depending on, look, we can't go too far down the rabbit hole because nobody's going to know what we're talking about. But basically, the reason why you're getting this thing up to 131 degrees, at least for 3 days, or between 150 to 165 for 2 days, and then 165 for 1 day, depending on where your temperature is that you're frying not only the seeds that are in there, but also the bad bacteria cannot live in that environment. Now, you can go overboard and you wind up with some other stuff where you may kill the good guys. That's not what you're wanting to get to, but that's exactly what we're teaching on Patreon right now. And we're about to start using this stuff. We're going to start showing folks how to make compost teas and extracts. And you're not necessarily, unless you have the right training, you're not going to be able to look at it under a microscope, but there are other things you can do. And that's probably what the next video is going to be, to know that you have good compost. And we're going to show a lot of folks how to do that.
Yeah. And then maybe in the future, they could send us their compost samples and we could test it for them.
Well, that's part of one of the businesses we're going to start kicking off here before too long.
Right.
We're all getting this training, and I got to say, it's paradigm changing. It really is.
Yeah.
And now we're producing. Now, one of the things I want to do also is we're going to start doing biological assessments on this bag stuff. This stuff everybody seems to think is so great.
Yeah.
And then we're going to amend it and give it back to them. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and get some of this stuff from one of these mulch yards around here.
Yeah.
They claim how great it is. I'm going to go ahead and get a bucket of it. I'm going to put the life in it and give it back to them and say, okay, now this is compost, nephew. We already knew beforehand.
I don't think they're going to react well, Dad.
Well, like Sean, the modern yeoman, dude, there's a lot of people spending a lot of good money to have a truckload of what they think is compost brought in. When Sean brought it in and I was over at his house, he was like, man, everything was turning yellow. I said, dude, I can almost bet you there's no nitrogen in this stuff.
Right.
It looks good. It looks flaky, but it's void of any kind of life.
Right, which is what's providing the nitrogen. You can't just throw nitrogen onto the soil and expect the plant to soak it up. You have to have the life in order for the plant to soak it up.
And it's, okay, so when you go out there and you do that, you're putting salts, basically, these fertilizers. That's not, man, I hate the word sustainable, but, well, it's not, it's not regenerative or sustainable.
No.
If you find yourself in that never-ending cycle of having to go out there, constantly put this stuff on, well, that's exactly what we're teaching you to get out of. We never used this stuff to begin with.
It's not even benign.
No. You're causing yourself bigger problems in the long run.
Yeah.
And we're going to start, we're showing you how to get the biology right, but it all starts with your compost. So from that compost, you can make teas, extracts, depending on what you're doing. And we can't show you necessarily how to do the microscope stuff because we just can't show you. I mean, we can't.
And this stuff spreads like crazy. Like we're told that like really, really good compost sometimes can be used like a ton per acre, or half ton per acre, which is insane. That is a lot. Well, that's very, very little for a lot of space.
Well, when you're making compost as powerful as what we have out there, and it is powerful. I mean, this stuff is so far off the charts so far, and we're only 2 months into my oldest batch.
Right.
And it gets better and better and better as long as you keep the moisture going, as long as you got a little bit of food in there, which they have. It is to the point now where if it's this good now, I can't imagine what it's going to be a month from now.
Well, this morning when we were filming that Patreon short, you were like with the biological assessment and all that, you could visually see the fungal hyphae growing on that little piece of wood.
Yeah, I don't think you captured that part in the video.
No, we didn't notice it till after.
After it was all said and done, you see the hyphae. I mean, it looks like veins in a human body.
Yeah.
And that's usually, when you have big, thick hyphae like that, it's usually a pretty good indication that you got something good. So, man, we're just kicking this stuff up. We're going to keep kicking it up, and we're going to keep showing folks. And like I said, Patreon's where we're going right now, but we're going to look at going over to locals or something else like that. Some way to get off this YouTube reservation, at least some way or another. All right, so last little bit of farm news is I've kicked off another 3-day fast. This time I'm doing it with James from Strand Farm. Strand, Strand. People were wondering, how to spell his land.
I'll link it down in the comments down below.
Yep.
Or you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Strand Farm, y'all, wonderful, fantastic people, and learn so much from both of them. I love it every time they come by, and I love their little dog, Moose.
Yeah, Moose is
He's
an awesome
the cutest
dog.
little dog. He's as sweet as can be. And
fluffy.
Yeah, he's all she's all fluffy. I keep wanting to call it a he, but it's a she. Anyway, Moose, their dog, and they're hacking it out of the wilderness. And so James, he and I have teamed up for this one, and then in the future maybe we'll go 5 days and then ultimately 7. But I've been fasting. When I was telling you a minute ago, like take another way home, I'm not just doing the fasting. There's a bunch of other things, and I want to get through this fast with the other things I'm doing, and then I want to share with you on Monday the developments and the challenges and how I'm overcoming them in my own world. And I really think that's going to be a super, super helpful podcast for all the folks out there, especially those of you out there that feel like you're in a rut. I'm going to show you how I get out of it, because it's easy to find your way in, but it's not always easy to find your way out. But I got some tricks that work like nobody's business. All right, with that said, we're going to go on over to my pastor, the Homesteading Pastor, Pastor Lon.
Hello, everyone. This is Pastor Lon. I got one verse of scripture for us today. It's in Exodus chapter 32, verse 9. And the Lord said unto Moses, I have seen this people, and behold, it is a stiff-necked people. We know here that God's speaking about the children of Israel. As Moses went up on the mount for the first time to get the 10 Commandments, he tells Moses in verses 7 and 8, he said, Get thee down, for thy people which thou broughtest out of the land of Egypt have corrupted themselves. They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them. That sounds so familiar today, as the people were so quick to turn away from God and start worshiping a false god, a golden calf, a molten calf. We're living in a society today, they worship everything but God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They worship themselves. They worship Buddha, Mohammed. They worship all the sinful, corrupt things in this world today that the devil has to offer. But I got news for this country and this world. If they don't turn back to God, the wrath of God and the judgment of God will come to this nation, just like it came to the children of Israel for their disobedience.
I can't help but think we're well on our way. And we were touching this Sound of Freedom. We are the number one consumer of pornography on the planet. We are the number one consumer of children. And I feel his pain. And I said to your mom, it was months ago, but I was always critical of like what Pastor Lon was talking there. I actually brought this up to her a couple of months ago, and I'm like, if you had seen the Red Sea parted, if you had seen pillars of fire, if you had seen all these things, manna fall from heaven, how how
More
on
than
earth,
once.
yeah, but I'd always wondered if you would see these things, how on earth could you not believe? And then Pastor Lon cites how they were stick necked people. And if it wasn't for Moses, God would have wiped them out a few times. So, point I'm getting is, are we any different? You know, I'm sitting here thinking, and really in my own way, yeah, I'm not worshiping a calf or anything, but the point being, am I any different? Because I've seen miracles in my life. I've literally seen with my own two eyes nothing short of what I know are miracles. And then you find yourself forgetting about it. You find yourself, in some cases, maybe even backsliding. And you find yourself doubting. And that's the part that gets me most, my own self-doubt, especially experiencing what I have. And then I have the audacity to pray to the Almighty and then sit here and then walk away with all this doubt. I'm like, unbelievable. So I'm thinking, am I any different? So anyway, on to what Pastor Lon's talking about, I see us in exactly the same place.
Well, I think it could also be like a warning, like, hey, you are a stiff-necked person. Be aware of that. You know what I mean?
You know, we are stiff-necked people in terms of, we've seen these, okay, like it's in the preamble to the Constitution. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. What have we done with it? We are their posterity. What have we done? Here it is. We have every diabolical act you can think of going on, and then we come across things like what I saw today, what I witnessed today in this interview that we're about to present right now.
Yeah.
Where I go to Asheville the other day and I see all this wretched stuff going on, and I see everybody trying to be deep, everybody trying to be somebody special and different, when in fact everybody else is dressed like you, looks like you, behaving like you.
Smells the same as you.
Yeah, there is that. And then lo and behold, when I feel like, man, what planet am I living on? I'm confronted with a real deal, wonderful reality. And that's exactly what we're going to present to you right now. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yeah, we got a treat for you today, and I've been really excited about this ever since I had an opportunity to listen to some of the music you just heard a minute ago. All right, let me back up a little bit. Okay, our guests, that's plural, that we have on today is basically, well, I'm going to let them tell you a little bit about themselves and some guys I had the real pleasure of meeting recently. Don, I had a conversation with and some email exchanges before. And he's one of the many people that have reached out to sign up for the fundraiser that's going to be happening for Veterans for Child Rescue. And as a side note, if you haven't seen it yet, y'all, once again, go check out the movie Sound of Freedom. It just hit the streets on 4th of July, and you're going to know the whole reason as to why we are doing what we're doing and the motive behind it. So without further ado, I want to welcome onto the show Big Daddy Don and his grandson, Gavin. How y'all doing?
Hello, very good.
Hey, Billy. Thanks for having us.
Well, thanks for being here. So right off the bat, we'll get into both of you, but Don, why don't you, every hero has a hero's journey. You know, it might be, tell me what it was like growing up in a galaxy far, far away, and you know how the lightsaber came into your hand. Maybe not quite like that, but why don't you tell us a little bit about your background?
Sure.
And we'll move on from there.
Sure. On YouTube, I'm known as Big Daddy Don, but I'm Don Smith, and I was born and raised in the hills of northeastern Kentucky. And at the ripe old age of 17, I joined the Air Force, and with my young bride, and we ended up in Germany. So from the hills of Kentucky to the streets of Frankfurt, Germany, quite a culture shock. But we served 3 years in the Air Force there in Germany, and then back to the States and served at um, Offutt Air Force Base for the head for the Strategic Air Command at the time. They've changed their name now. I have no idea what their name is now. But 9 years in the service, and then we moved back to this area, and we live in Central Ohio right now. So we live on 6.3 acres, and we are uh, starting our homestead. I mean, if we follow the crawl, walk, run model for homesteading with Billy and all the big superstars of homesteading, they're running. We're actually flopping around in the cradle with a dirty diaper right now. So we're just we're just getting started, and so just got a chicken coop, got my electric fence set up. Supposed to be getting some chickens this weekend. I have plans to have livestock. Hope to raise some lambs, some sheep, and we're gonna have a garden. We've had a garden now for several years, and it's going well. I'm telling you, Billy. I don't know if it's our soil up here, but I think I'm gonna have to start a comfrey grow operation up here because those roots I bought off of you, man, they are taking off. I've already harvested once off of them, and now they're full again just this year. So I mean, it is amazing. And for the chickens we're about to get, I've been taking comfrey over to them to help get them all healthy before they come into their new home. So so we're doing that. But that's the homestead situation. But for my family, of course, I'm married uh, to my wife for 41 years, and I have one daughter, and she's married, and four grandchildren, and they all help me in some way on our property. Gavin and is a big help. I'm constantly calling him, saying, "Hey, come help me do this or move that," and him and his brother has been working on clearing a fence row for me and doing stuff like that.
Well,
And yeah,
no, no, you're in a transition though. Gavin,
yep.
we'll get to you in a minute because look, a while back, Don sent me a video of Gavin performing. And at the time in this show, we were still playing people like Bonamassa and, I'm in the blues and all kinds of stuff. And then he showed his grandson. I'm like, okay, he got my attention right off the bat. And I was really impressed with what I saw there. But we'll get to that in a minute. We'll get to Gavin in a
Thank
minute.
you.
The Don, right now you're in a position where a lot of people reach out and they're at this transition where they might have been at a job for X amount of years, and they could be in a position of where they're feeling like, okay, man, look at the way things are going. I need to get out of this. You're approaching what some people call retirement, and you're getting into this. Now, I do want to caution others. Look, be careful. A lot of folks out there, try not to compare your beginning with somebody else's middle because they've been at it longer. If I were to
Hmm.
transition into what you do, Don, I'd be like a pig on roller skates for sure. Um, but you're doing all the right things. You're moving in the right ways. I want you to address real quick before we touch on the Gavin. This transition you feel like you're making right now, or maybe you feel like you're making it. So
Hmm.
many people reach out and they're in exactly the same position. Why don't you tell us what that is?
Well, yeah, we're real close to retirement. My wife is closer than I am. Don't tell anybody that, but
Mm.
she's closer. And but I'm within 5 years, hopefully, with if everything goes according to plan. And so in this process, when we started, first thinking about, well, the first thing was considering the situation that we were in with the pandemic, and all of the things that the stores being closed and supply chain and all that. We started thinking about, hey, what's the right thing to do here? So homesteading uh, came to mind, and so we just started walking in that way. So what we're doing now is just since money flow isn't is available for us, we're starting to make the investments that we need so that when we retire, and hopefully by then we'll have our homestead, running as of course it's never finished, but having all the things that we want to do. And then as we do this, gathering knowledge and learning from experts and stuff like that. So we're not jumping in head first, but we are, taking steps um, in a more methodic way, and getting ready to step into that transition. Because I when I retire, I don't plan on just sitting around, drinking lemonade and eating moon pies, right? I want to do something. And so with my grandchildren in mind, and my family, and preparing, growing our own food, we just want to get in that situation. So so that's where we're at. We're just one of the biggest decisions we have at this point is deciding whether or not we want to do it in Ohio or not. It's a big decision, because there are some places in Ohio where homesteading is, a lot of people are doing that. But we're really close to Amish country, and of course that whole community. You know, the more and more study homesteading, it's like, okay, the Amish had it right. They got that part right. and and so it was, it's like, deciding whether or not we want to do it where we're currently at. We definitely been blessed with the property that we have, and but uh, the metro area that we're near is just growing up around us, and we're just trying to decide, is this the right place? Do we look for another? But that's still not stopping me on what I want to do on this property. And so that's a big decision. And because I don't know what you think, Billy, but I feel like you got to be at least an hour and a half, 2 hours away from a major metropolitan area not to be affected. Because one of the in this county, it is like the most highly regulated county when it comes to building permits and stuff like that. And it's just, it's onerous, and it is really a chain around you in regards to your freedoms to do things on your own property. Um, so that's one of the big things we're considering.
Well, I think it's a really smart tactical move to get all this training, whether you stay there or not, to at least get it under your belt before you say, okay, well, now I'm ready to make that transition into retirement, and then we start. Now, how much support do you get from the family? You said Gavin helps out from time to time.
Hmm.
Obviously, he's keeping you entertained. And by the way, folks, the music you heard coming into this break was created by this young man, Gavin. I want to know, Gavin, your involvement. First of all, how old are you, young man?
14.
Wow. And you're jamming like that. Okay. Yeah, you got my full attention right off the bat. So, what involvement or what interest, or do you have any interest in any of what your grandpa's got going on, Gavin?
Well, I just like working. So whenever work comes around, I'm always here to help. I feel like that's with all of us. And I just really enjoy working with Papa because he always knows what to do.
Hold on, man. Heavens to Murgatroyd, man. You got my full attention, son. Because honestly, that is the polar opposite of what I hear from everybody else your age. Don, you got to be super proud. I mean, for a young man that
Hmm.
age, especially this day and age, to have any notion of a work ethic um, is extraordinary.
Yeah, all of our grandchildren have that work ethic, and
Awesome.
it's they're my daughter and their dad both have a real strong work ethic. My daughter has her own business. Um, my son-in-law works at Honda Manufacturing, and he's a team lead there, and he does, a great job there. But all four of our grandchildren work. They want to work, and they're. I'll give you a prime example. My granddaughter is very excited about horses and equestrian sciences and stuff like that, and she's going into the an equestrian program here in August. And so we posted on a neighborhood app saying, "Hey, I got a teenager that wants to work in a barn, work in barns, and for horses and stuff like that." And within a matter of days, she got 3 job offers. And
Hmm.
so it looks like she's going to be able to manage 2 of them. I don't know about the third one yet, but so she's all excited about that. And then my 2 older grandsons, uh, one of them's going into a sound engineering for music. He's already done some engineering. He engineered the songs that we sent you, and then he did some for some local bands and stuff like that. So he's going to get technical training with that. Uh, and then my oldest grandson has been working hard and doing some transitional stuff now. But they all have a good work ethic, and I don't even have to argue with them. It'll be, hey, I need some help, and they're right here, and they all work very hard. Yeah.
Wow. So Gavin, let me jump on over to you. 14, good night, man. And you, boy, you're. I wish I had your work ethic at 14. I didn't. Yeah, my interests were elsewhere, and they weren't wonderful either. So what do you do? I mean, what do you do for fun at 14? I take it you're doing more than just playing the video games and stuff these days.
Yeah, I just usually play guitar most day, and then maybe sometimes I'll play like 10 minutes on a game, and then I'll get off and play more guitar. And then I like to write some original songs and all that. And then I don't just play guitar, I play some other instruments too that are kind of just I'd like to get better at. So I spend some time in a day playing those instruments like ukulele and mandolin and drums and bass and all that stuff. So
Well, you definitely
Yes,
got my attention right off the bat. So, as
that
far
was
as I
him,
know,
Billy.
is I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt, but that was that in that music. That's him playing every instrument.
yeah.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah.
hmm
I didn't. Well, I'm even thoroughly impressed now. Wow.
That's
That
why the drums aren't perfect, but because I'm trying to get better at drums.
I think that's. I mean, in this day and age where nearly everybody I know that's in the music industry, nearly every one of them provides a voice, which I guess you could say is an instrument, but you're actually playing an instrument. These days, when I was a kid, and I'm sure Don could, every band actually played instruments. These days it's all done with
hmm
a computer or auto tune and all this other stuff, man. You're out there doing
hmm
this for real. Um,
hmm
that's truly impressive. So what do you intend to do with your life?
Well, starting an original band would be the first thing, which I've been trying to do. It's kind of hard to find musicians nowadays that really like the music that I like around here. Um,
That's why he wants to move to Tennessee, Billy.
that's right.
Ah, really?
Right. Yes.
The real free state. Well, I'll tell you what, there's a giant homestead. If you could somehow talk your papa, can't remember which name you used there, but if you can talk your grandfather into moving that way, you're going to find out that there is number one on your grandpa's side of the equation, you got a high freedom quotient out there. Number one, and
hmm
number two, I can't even tell you how many musical artists I know personally from out there. In fact, one of them plays professionally. I actually just wrote a book with him,
Oh,
and
really?
he plays professionally in Nashville. So,
Oh,
um,
nice.
yeah, I actually know quite a few of them over there. So it's pretty cool, man. Don, I guess if you're going to get on the first thing smoking out of Ohio, Tennessee might not. I mean, like I said, there's not a freer state that I know of. You got everything you could want there, minus the ocean, of course, if that's something you want. But you got a high freedom quotient. You got homesteaders from all over the place going to Tennessee for exactly that reason, the freedom. And then it's funny because you also have those same homesteaders that I know of, like Matt at Homestead for a Living, who are professional musicians, or their day job is working in Nashville, or their day job is working on the farm. Their night job is working in Nashville. So, Gavin, I guess you're
hmm
looking for a reason to get over there right now, ain't you?
Yeah. Yes. Very. Yeah.
Hey, Gavin, tell him about your blues thing in Memphis.
Yeah. So, January. I'm not for sure what date it is in January 2024. I'm in this band. We may be going to Nashville or not Nashville, Memphis. next year in January to play. I think it's 1 or 2 shows downtown Memphis, and it's going to be very exciting.
It's the
Oh man.
International Blues competition.
Oh,
They
so you're
won
going
the
to be
local
on
competition.
Oh, cool. So you'll probably be down on Bill Street, I imagine.
hmm
Okay.
Right smack dab in the middle.
Wow, that place is. I'll tell you what. Good food, good music. You walk up and down the street. If you haven't been there, you're going to be in hog heaven. In fact, all over Tennessee, I think you're going to dig it because the music scene. It's pretty cool that they have a music scene in all these different towns. I mean, whether it's more traditional kind of stuff, you were saying you were into the mandolin and stuff like that. Um, they got everything from bluegrass to rock to country. I mean, you name it. It's all right there. So sounds like you're helping your grandpa make a decision on where y'all want to settle
Yeah,
down.
definitely.
It's
You
good.
heard
You
it,
know,
Papa. Write it down.
yeah, it's kind of like herding cats a little bit. It's because we want to move as a family. So we just got to get everything lined up and then decide, what do we want to do? So, but hey, Bill, I did want to tell you about some experimental stuff that Gavin and I are working on.
Sure.
Of course, I told you about the chickens, but we've, working with local universities, we've developed a four-legged meat chicken. Four-legged meat chicken. But we got one problem. I don't know if you can help me with this. Um, we can't catch them. So I don't know if you got any tips on that or
Yeah,
not.
you don't tell the permaculture pimp daddy. You need to be calling Oprah. This is something. You need to be calling Ripley's, bro. A four-legged chicken.
Four-legged meat chicken. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay, well,
No,
I'd love to see evidence of this one. Like I said, you don't need a permaculture designer. You need an exorcist, bro. I don't know what y'all got going on up there. Okay, that move, you ought to make it a little bit sooner rather than later if you got four-legged chickens running around. We call those chimeras.
Well, you and, William doing the 75 hard, that could be your cardio, it's catching them four-legged chickens. But
Yeah, okay, now I can see this video right now. Me out there chasing his chicken like Rocky. We got Gavin's music playing in the background. Here I am falling into pig mud. I can see it all happening right there. I mean, you know what? Hey, it would be a viral video. I can give you that.
I am there for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to get you signed up to.
Hey, by the way, Billy, have you guys been affected by the smoke down there?
No.
The Canadian fire.
Well, if that's what they call it. I've heard other theories as of late. I might get a little conspiratorial on this. We've seen it. It's been foggy. It's been funny. But there have been people in your area claiming that they have a peculiar smell that's accompanying this thing that doesn't smell like smoke. Are you guys experiencing that?
Yeah, we've smelt smoke. It does seems a little weird, but I think Gavin has done some research on this as well. Gavin, you
Yeah.
want to tell him what you think it is?
Yeah, I think Snoop Dogg may be in town. I'm not for sure. I'm not for sure. I think that's what's going on here.
He's touring with Willie Nelson.
Oh, is that right?
And it's just messing up the environment.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can see it now. Snoop's, yeah, this farm is off the hizzle fo shizzle.
That is awesome.
We're going to do a little puff give up in this farm. Hand it over, nephew. I can see.
Yes. Yes. That is awesome. That is awesome.
Oh my goodness, man. We got everything from Snoop Dogg to four-legged chickens, man. I guess I'm going to run into you guys up in that thing in Kentucky, right?
Yeah, that's right. We're going to be there. Me and my wife, my daughter, and Gavin and his sister.
You might reach out to them. Maybe they need a musical act up there. I don't know if you'd be interested in doing such a thing, but
yeah, I've been communicating with Jason. Just today, I asked him how we're doing on the goal, and there's still plenty of seats available for the dinner, and of course, as we get closer to the date, more people will sign up. But yeah, come on out if you're in the tri-state area. Get down there. It's going to be about a 7-hour drive for us, but it's worth it for the calls.
Absolutely.
And we're definitely for that type of activity as far as apprehending the pedophiles, and hey, I'll buy an industrial chipper if that'll help.
Well, you see what shirt I got on? Got wood chipper. Chipper. It's basically that one from that shirt ought to go viral.
Yeah.
You know, and Don, thank you so much for your generosity. I mean, how many tickets did you actually buy to this event?
5. We bought 5.
Wow. And I take it you're bringing 5 people, or it's going to be 5 of you. Oh man,
Yes.
it'll be really cool to see all of y'all in person. It's you know, that's the one cool thing about going to these festivals is that we kind of, it's funny because we see each other. It's like a reunion, and you see the same people from the next one festival to the other, and there's almost no introduction. I guarantee we'll be in the same room, all of us, and we're going to get along famously because we already have so much in common before we even walked in the door. So whether it's Gavin's music, which I already dig, or whether the lifestyle you guys have and, you know, your work ethic and all the other things, the family unit you have, like you're talking about, if you move, everybody's going, well, that's exactly what we did. If we would have never moved if it didn't mean that we brought our family with us, all of them. And so that's what means at the end of the day, we weren't going to do it. So if William wasn't on board when we came out here and we left, you know, Oklahoma to Kansas, or Kansas to another part of Kansas, and Kansas to Texas, and then Texas to another part of Texas, and then Texas to here, you know, we already have that in common. And there's so many other people that we're going to see in that same room, that same place, where when the weekend's over, you're like, good night, man. I wish I could take these people home with me. I wish we were all neighbors, you know? And that's the beauty about going to these things like this, because it's just the awesome fellowship that you just have with one another. And good night, man. We ought to see if they need a band there, Gavin. See if we can get over there and rock the house.
Absolutely.
We can take the whole family and we can
Take the
rock
whole
it out
family.
for a couple hours. Sure.
I'll talk to Jason and Shelly and see what's up. But like you were saying, yeah, there are tickets available to this thing. And typical with most events, they usually don't sell out until usually the final, really the last 3 weeks of any event. So you guys got on early, and then Don is especially special because not only did he won like the grand prize thing, number one, he got his own show, but also got these limited edition. He also won the coaster. Man, I hate to blind y'all with this, with all this bling, bling, bling. I'm going to put it, in fact, you got me going with this Snoop Dogg thing. I'm going to probably put a chain
That's
on
right.
this thing.
I need a chain.
Look around like Flavor Flav, or maybe I'll just put it on the shirt like Tony Stark or something, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So so what else do y'all got going on up there? I mean, are you at all, let me ask this, how close are y'all to that disaster, and is there any talk about the you know, the fallout of it?
We're about probably about an hour and a half southwest of that. So we're not on the river, on the Ohio River, you know, between West Virginia and Ohio, or Pennsylvania there. So, uh, you know, the way the Gulf Stream goes, you know, it blows eastward, so that is northeast of us. So not necessarily close by that, but um, so I don't think we were affected abnormally. But you know, there's other things happening. There's in Ohio, that another reason why we're thinking, hey, it might be time to go. Is they're planning on building 2 nuclear plants uh, in southern Ohio. There's Intel is building a big, huge manufacturing plant in this area. I don't know how many thousands of acres of farmland that got sold because of that. And then, you know, of course, then all the urban buildup, you know, but like as I mentioned before. But yeah,
It's
so the
funny.
governor is sellout basically, but
Yeah.
that's for another podcast.
Well, you know, there's a friend of mine. I was just on the phone with him today. He's up in Ohio, and he's leaving there as we speak to go to another place entirely. And plus, he's saying, look, the chemtrails are out of control up here. You know,
Oh yeah.
it's like, it's just, Gavin, you're shaking your head. So you know about these?
Well, my mom talks about this stuff a lot, so I just
Oh
kind of
yeah. That's
I just
what
kind of listen. I'm like, okay, that's cool.
see. Here's another. For those that don't know, when we go to these festivals and stuff, believe it or not, there is a fair amount of conversation about these types of things that we typically don't talk about because usually the people that go to this thing are very, very awake. Gavin, I think you're going to dig a lot of the people you're going to see there and a lot of the conversations you're able to have. And you're going to be shocked at how many people you're so intelligent that, I think you may struggle to a certain extent finding people your age that can relate with a lot of what you're doing. Am I wrong there?
I mean, yeah, that's why like a lot of people I meet are usually a lot older than me that I have like that I can actually like talk to and that they understand what I'm saying pretty much.
Right.
So it's kind of hard finding people that are my age and all that stuff that I
Well, the
can
second
actually
I
hang
said
with.
chemtrails, you're sitting there like, yeah, I know all about it, man. The cool thing is that at these events, these are the kind you're going to meet almost certainly some other people your age may not live around the corner, but people, you feel less alone in the world. I'll say it that way. We all do, because frankly, where I live, I'm something of an outlier, and I'm sure where everybody else lives, you're an outlier as well. And that's the cool thing about getting together for these gatherings. Not only is it a party with a purpose, we all get to cross-train one another. We all get to find out what each other's doing. I get to take pictures of four-legged chickens. I want to pose next to them, the whole 9 yards. Maybe even come across some celebrities here and there, yo.
That's awesome.
Well, Gavin will be there. There's your celebrity.
I'm really looking forward to meeting both of you guys, man. It's going to be a real joy. How does everybody? I mean, do you have a way folks could check out your stuff, Gavin?
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel that I've been trying to grow for the past couple months. It's called Gavin's Guitar Co. If you just go to YouTube, it's just Gavin's Guitar Co. And it should be there. I don't have a link right now for it.
I sent it to Billy on an email.
Okay, we'll make sure we'll try to link that down below. But in addition to that, look, when we're there, we're going to get you a heck of a lot more subscribers if we can do it in person. Maybe if you just had an acoustic guitar or anything like that.
Right.
You play and I'll sing. How about that? We'll do some ebony and ivory stuff.
There you go.
Because
Play some
I'm
SRV. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, don't think I won't lay it down. You provide the tunes, bro, and I'll rock the house. I mean,
all right, cool.
We'll bring the whole place down.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. You know what? I think that's a great idea. Do you have an acoustic guitar?
I do. I have one right here.
All right, we'll work out a jam, and you and I will perform it when we're there. How about that?
All right, cool.
You want to play?
That's a great idea.
We'll record it, and I'll put it on my YouTube channel, and people are going to be like, "Man, who's this young man over here cutting it up?" Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So we're going to make that happen at that event. So, yeah, get ready to do a duet.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. Hey, Billy, is the baby that's coming with William and his wife, is that your first grandchild?
Yes, it is.
I'll tell you what, man, once you start having grandchildren, you wish you would have done them first. If you would have had your grandchildren first, because when you see, when you realize that, it's not just your children, but your grandchildren following in your steps in their own way, man, it's such a blessing. Of course, they're very unique and they have their own giftings and stuff like that. But man, just to see your family go to the next generation, I don't know. I can't explain it, but it's just something.
Well, you
something
seem especially blessed seeing young Gavin here, and his intellectual prowess, and it doesn't take a good eye to see that he's a sharp young man and he's got an incredible future ahead of him. It just gives me incredible hope, because there are so many people saying the polar opposite, or they're having the polar opposite, where they thought they raised their kids right. They send them off to university and then they come back with an automaton, or they did good on the kids kind of lost their way, and then the grandkids go take it a little bit further.
Mm-hmm.
It is just such a joy to be here with a grandpa and his grandson, and I'm looking forward to meeting both of you. And Gavin, get your skills on, nephew, because it's about to be on. I'm gonna, yeah, Yeah, I'm gonna burn that mic right down to the ground. It's gonna be a mic drop moment by the time I get done
That's right.
chirping.
That's right.
Awesome. That's what I like to see.
Yeah, we'll have to work out something. But yeah, for real, I'm dead serious. If nothing else, if we don't do it there, we're definitely gonna film it and put it on the YouTube channel because that's a side of me nobody's ever seen before. And yeah, we'll get you some upfront time. Don, do you have a YouTube channel or some way to folks
Yeah,
get
I
a hold
sure
of you?
do. It's called From the Ground Homestead, and it's based off of the creation account, in Genesis, that God created everything from the ground, and so that's how I got the name. And I've recently done a book review on the One Straw Revolution because of your recommendation to read that book. It's an amazing book, and everyone should read that. And it's I'm not as faithful to it as Gavin is. He's on there weekly, but hope to grow that as more things happen on the homestead. I'll definitely have one coming up about our chickens. So, but yeah, we're doing that's mine, From the Ground Homestead.
From the ground. Okay, we'll make sure we link both of those. And man, I look forward to performing. I can't believe I just signed up to perform.
Are we gonna need a contract, Billy? I mean, because this could get huge. It could go viral.
Oh, it'll go
Absolutely.
viral. I guarantee that. When people see me
Born
up
in the
there.
United States.
Yeah, we'll get it worked out. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It's been a joy, a real joy to hang out with both of you. And honestly, you give me hope for America because typically I don't see these relationships every day. I don't see, especially today, it seems like where families are falling apart. It just feels so awesome to be able to talk to you and see a family thriving and intent on doing some pretty incredible stuff together. So I can't thank y'all enough for being on here. And folks, with that said, we're going to bring this segment out. In fact, this whole show is going to be playing Gavin's music. All right, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that, y'all. It was just a joy to be able to hang out with Don and his grandson. Really looking forward to meeting them and so many of you out there because I know I'm going to see a lot of you up there. And folks, I'm telling you, once you get to going to these homestead festivals, you're going to be glad you did because it's always you hug, you hang out, and it's like it's like a family reunion. It really is. You see everybody you met the last time, and if this is your first time, trust me, you're going to be treated like family. You could not be in a better space. So with that said, y'all, I want to give a hat tip to my man Gavin for all the music that he's providing through this show.
Yeah.
And yeah, so there's going to be a lot more of it. In fact, he and I are going to do something of well, I'll save that for the festival. But yeah, he's going to basically bring his guitar and I'm going to sing.
What are you going to sing?
I don't know yet. Probably some Bonamassa. Who knows? I don't even know yet. But y'all, this episode is brought to you by EMP Shield. Get $50 off with promo code PERMA, PERMA. Also, Harvest Right freeze dryers. We got that thing running day and night. Strawberries in it right now. Son, would you like some strawberries? It's in there right now. So with that, y'all, we're going to kick off to your Q&A.
Got one from No Name Tag from the Fountain app. Keep preaching about child rescue. Don't let the haters get to you. Your authenticity is why I listen. Time to help some pedophiles diddle a chipper. Question. Billy, do you still use the deer antler velvet you used to talk about? I've been considering it and now wondering what your honest opinion is on it now. Positive product, snake oil, hashtag buck up, son.
No, I absolutely like it. It's funny you brought that up because somebody else asked about that too. I haven't been using it. I basically cycled off of it for a little while just to make sure that the results weren't placebo.
Yeah.
And I know that they weren't at first. And then I got back into it, and then I'm like, okay, I'm seeing the results here. So
yeah, I stopped taking it shortly after the 75 hard. Yeah, I'll probably get back into taking it. But yeah, there's definite like benefits from taking it.
Yeah, I was seeing some benefits, so I cycled off of it for a little while, but I changed my diet, so I don't know if it's the carrot or the horse. And then I got back on, but every time I'm fasting, I'm trying to be very fastidious in how I'm going about it, because I'll tell you the reasons why. Well, I put on 7 pounds over the last several days, and I couldn't figure out what's going on here. And this is going to sound stupid as soon as I tell it, but I need to tell it anyway in case somebody else is thinking about doing this keto thing. So I'm like okay, where's my 6-pack, dude? It's starting to turn into a keg. What's going on here? And then I looked out in that kitchen. The only thing that changed, I got some of those prepackaged
keto fat bomb things.
Well, not the ones I made, but the ones from the store.
Yeah, they're like fat bombs.
Well, it says 5 net carbs, and I'm like, man, this thing tastes great. All right, so I'll go ahead and get myself up to 20 carbs, because I'm still below what I ought to be. I'm sitting there eating 4 of these things, and ate 4 the next day, and then the next day. And I'm like, man, boy, you got to love this keto stuff. And then I'm like, hold on, man. I get down and I take a look, and I'm like, man, okay, you think I'd have caught this like a day into it, but I'm like 3-4 days into it. And I go look in the mirror and I'm like, hold on, dude, what is going on? How am I putting on fat? I go over there, right there with your mom, and I'm about threw that stuff across the kitchen. I'm sitting there looking on this pack. It says right there on the front, 5 net carbs. Well, the way you figure out your net carbs from the old days was take whatever your total carbs was, subtract the fiber. No.
Yeah.
Apparently they got new math. Apparently all the people doing the math on here basically got it from the Obama administration. Because what do you call that math they put in there? This
I don't know. On a curve. We'll call it on a curve.
Yeah, where 2 plus 2 is 9 or whatever you want it to be.
Depends on what the rest of the class answers.
Man, this stuff actually had 20 grams a piece.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh, man, you mean to tell me I've been taking in all this stuff? Because I was like, well, I got room to spare. Let me go get it at this other brand. So the Evolve brand is apparently quite good. So, folks, what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, man, you got to almost make your own stuff. So I ended up going to this other stuff. It's expensive, but I'm like, okay, I'm just going to lay off of it altogether.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to go right back to eating nothing. But here I am thinking I'm eating fat and I'm in range. And look, there's a whole lot of scams out there, and I fell for that one.
Yeah, I'm still on this carnivore diet, like introducing like random stuff at times. I'm still finding out like I react like allergies to quite a bit. I don't know what's going on.
Well, a lot of people
might just be meat for the rest of my life.
Well, you might want to. Well, I'll talk to you off air about some of the other options on there.
Okay.
So Cameron says, "Hey, quick question: after driving ground rods, would covering them with a thick layer of mulch help keep the ground moist in an environment like Central Texas?" I got to be honest with you. I never thought about doing that. I got to believe it would probably help. It all depends. I mean, I know nobody ever wants to hear it depends, but that's really the answer to so many things. But, man, you got to love the creativity of people out there. I think that's not a bad idea.
Try sheet mulch. Soak the cardboard first, put that down, and then put the wood chips on top.
If it's going to be something that's going to stay there for quite a while, I would honestly give it a shot. I mean, you may have a winner there.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a good idea.
I mean, the microbes that bring in there actually probably, if you were to mulch that thing real deep, I mean, you know what, Cameron? Give it a shot. Let me know. But my suspicion is, if you were to put a bunch of mulch or sheet mulch around that area, keep it moist for a little while, I wonder if that would solve I mean, honestly, you may have a winner there. Great idea.
That's a good idea. I got one from A. Eon. Troubling times that some have seen coming for years. Example, Paul Harvey, If I Were the Devil.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a...
is that a song?
No, it's basically a monologue by Paul Harvey. I mean, man, I don't know how many of you people used to listen to Paul Harvey, but... Good day? Yeah.
What?
Yeah, so he basically would do this thing called The Rest of the Story. Clever as all get out. He would write them up, and then the whole time he's weaving, he would basically tell you everything about the celebrity or whoever you don't know about. And one of the most compelling ones is the one he did on General Patton. He did them on like Elvis Presley, you name it. And he would also have these monologues, these social commentaries, and one of them that he did was called If I Were the Devil. If you listen to that, it will put tingles up your spine because Paul Harvey predicted with total precision exactly what has befallen this country.
Really?
To the T.
Wow.
I wish we had it queued up right now, but yeah, that is definitely something that you might want to check out, folks, if you haven't listened to it already. I lost somebody's email here. I don't know what I did. Sorry about that. Man, I'll have to remember what that was. I hit the wrong button on this thing, and I basically, I don't know who you were, but I think you were asking, man, let me not even guess. Sorry if I didn't respond, and y'all, I'm not even getting emails, so that's another thing we got to change as well. Hello, I've received my cuttings, but the card says not to use in compost. Can you explain why? She's talking about the compost cuttings. The soil around my house is comfort cuttings. I'm sorry. The soil around my house is not the greatest, so I will amend it with black cow compost. Is a good. Please don't do that.
Yeah.
The worse the soil, in most cases, the better your compost is going to do. But folks,
Comfrey,
yeah. The better your comfrey is going to do. And listen, when you put it in compost, you're kind of setting it back. Do not do that. I know you feel compelled to do that. If anything, just put mulch on it and leave it alone. Keep it watered and mulch. There's people that don't water it and they wonder why it doesn't grow. So.
It's one of those plants that needs like a job to do. So it needs to try to like break up that compacted soil, fix that bad soil. And it'll grow faster doing that, believe it or not.
There you go.
Got one from Liberty Bound. Billy and William, the Philly bridge collapse was more of an overpass collapse. They didn't reconstruct the overpass. They simply used fill to build it up. I live just outside the city. The trucks of fill were being escorted by what looked like feds.
I don't know what to make of that. I'd like to see a video. If you get a picture of it, let me see it.
I have an idea. They took some of that train wreckage from Ohio, used that as fill, and then brought it all over to Philly.
Man,
just to spread out the disaster even worse.
Well, take note. Nobody's talking about it anymore.
Yeah.
All that dioxin and stuff that went down in Ohio, just like Fukushima. Worst disaster in history that we know of, Fukushima, Japan, and it's still unfolding, and it's still dumping tons and tons of radiation into the Pacific, and nobody's talking about it.
How many of these have happened? How many do you wonder happened before, like, the invention of, just like easy access internet? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we have no idea the full extent of what they've done and what they do, but all I know is right now, Fukushima is poisoning the entire Pacific. Yeah. And nobody cares. Nobody's talking about it. Well, I can't help but wonder what the fallout's going to be of this dioxin. Well, Mike Adams, the health ranger, supposedly got a machine. He's getting trained on it, and he's going to let everybody know what it is. So, man, my heart goes out to a lot of the folks that are anywhere near that thing. As Don was talking about, I mean, especially the people to the east of it.
Yeah.
Apparently that seems where the winds are taking all this
Maybe
stuff.
This was the whole reason we were supposed to bless our food before eating it, because God just knew at near the end, we're going to release a bunch of dioxins and we're going to need to bless it before we consume it.
Man, yeah. I mean, well, the good thing is that if it's on vegetable, if you wash it off, it usually comes off. I mean, for the most part. I mean, but who wants to eat it anyway? So Alan says, Happy Independence Day. Wanted to ask if you're taking an IGF-1 while you fast. No, I don't. I'm not. And that's the weirdest thing. The only thing I'm doing while I'm fasting, because what I screwed up with the first time, I'm not sure. There's a little sweet taste in that IGF-1, so I'm not going to take the chance. I don't want to knock myself out of my fasting because I took it, so I'm not taking the chance. But the things I am taking and helped out immeasurably the last time, obviously electrolytes. William bought these ones before. I'm drinking also... electrolytes are the big ones right there, and that's what I'm doing in the middle of this fast right now. Magnesium. I felt tons better. We have this magnesium that we got from Stu Peters. I can't remember the name of it.
It's the full spectrum one.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it either. Emily takes it.
Yeah, I took it in the morning and I took it at night, and that made all the difference in the world. In fact, this last go-round, I felt so good that your mom said, okay, you need to stop fasting now. Even though I was chill, I was laid back, I was cool. She just thought at some point the steam was going to blow off, and that's not what happened. If anything, I was more chilled out. I was more laid back. I mean, lacked a little bit of energy, but I felt like I could have kept going.
Well, yeah, Dad. Also, we have stuff to get done. we gotta get stuff done.
Yeah, and it's harder for me to do this at half the pace. So
Right.
I'm going to kick it up a little bit earlier. Also, he says, you were talking about the Bill of Rights. Little known fact, Declaration of Independence was mostly copied from the previous document written by the Mecklenburg Presbyterian Association. Jefferson revised a few things. Yeah, he has a bunch more things in there too. He also says the King James Version debate, Play for Realism, written by D.J. Carson, is a great resource. And he says, personally, I prefer the ESV. They translated from the Septuagint and the Dead Sea Scrolls along with the Hebrew. Yeah, I certainly can't.
Was the ESV Ethiopian? Is that it?
Standard Version?
Ethiopian Standard Version?
I don't know.
Is that what it is? Because I know the Ethiopian Orthodox Church includes the Dead Sea Scrolls and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I'm curious myself.
Huh.
Look, finding out. I'm doing the old King James Version right now, and I'm just trying. Like I said before, I love how it reads. I love the whole thing. I need to, like the Geneva Bible and some of these others, I need to look in there. I mean, just out of curiosity and just see exactly what differences there are.
Got one from Stubbs97 on the YouTube channel, Permaculture PIMPcast. Where do I acquire said Compost Pedos shirt? Go ahead and turn around for him, Dad.
Where do they what?
Where do they acquire it?
Oh, yeah. You know what? I need to wear, I can't wait to wear this. I don't know if you can see it on the video, but.
Well, yeah, you've seen it before. The Compost Pedos shirt, you can get that over at Kentucky Sustainable Living.
Yeah,
right?
They got a YouTube channel. Go check out Jason at Kentucky Sustainable Living.
Yep.
I got a feeling this shirt ought to be everywhere. Everybody get one of these. And like you said, William, man, I wish when I walked in that movie theater, I had this thing on.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to see it, ain't you, real soon?
Yeah, Emily and I are going to go see it Monday, I think. I can't remember. But she had an awesome idea. And whoever wants to take this, take the idea. So we're having, obviously, a baby. It'd be cool if the baby had like an accompanying onesie. So my shirt would say Compost Pedophiles, and the baby's onesie would say that's what what he said. That's it. Yeah. Or yup.
Yup. Yeah, I think yup would be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be cute.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kentucky Sustainable Living. And like William said, it's really the ultimate litmus test.
Yes,
because
it is.
if you were offended by this shirt, you told me everything I need to know about you, nephew.
Yeah, follow me.
Hi, Billy. If you haven't seen The Sound of Freedom yet, I highly recommend it. Yeah, at the end of the movie, I turned to my wife and I said, "Compost Pedophiles." Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I sat there. I ain't want to just sit here and bawl all the time, but man, my empathy goes through the roof for people that suffer, especially kids. And when you see the way it's portrayed in this film, it is just tough to watch, but you have to watch it. That's the problem we see right now with so many circles in America where former sister-in-law, she would be like, I don't want to hear about it. It's a little too sad for me. Well, that's the problem. You don't want to, if it can be done to them, the least you can do is know that it's happening and try to fight it. So that's exactly where I'm at on this. I'm not going to lose my mind once again, because every time I think about the thing, ask your mom, man. I was so furious when I walked out of there, I couldn't see straight, man.
Yeah, bad time for a Marchie to approach, that's for sure.
Oh, you got that right.
I got another one from Stubbs97. Isn't that the homesteader's paradox? I have all this space, I need more food to put in it. Produce more food to fill the spaces, now realizing I have no more space. I make more space, now I need more food to put in that space.
Yeah, that's real. That's a good problem to have.
That is.
Yeah, I mean, so if you can't preserve it, I mean, remember that third ethic, give back to the previous two, earth care, people care. Obviously, if there are animals you can feed with it, there's that consideration. Also, neighbors, you can build a whole lot of, I kid you not, I've opened more doors with honey than any other thing. Yeah. It ain't money. It ain't a handshake. Honey has opened more doors for me than anything else. And
it was wedding favors at the wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's definitely that. Stephanie says, hi, Billy and William. Found your YouTube channel a couple of years ago. Been a faithful viewer. Thank you so much, Stephanie. You often talk about earthworks in relation to water retention, but I'm wondering if you could talk about ways to remediate soggy land. For reference, we bought 11 acres just basically in Pennsylvania, for a saner life. Thank you, Jesus. On 11 acres. 3 is gently sloping land, and the rest is acreage. Okay, there's more here, but Stephanie, and P.S., our 20-year-old daughter lives here on the property as well and has decided that generational farming is her future.
That's
Man,
awesome.
that is so awesome to hear.
Yeah.
Stephanie, unfortunately, I got to tell you, it depends because it's hard for us to say anything without actually seeing it. But yes, you can absolutely use earthworks, but it depends on so many things. Where's your land situated in this larger footprint? You know? There's things we got to know, but yes, you can absolutely use, if you got too much water, well, maybe a swale in that area isn't going to, but diversion ditches do work.
Also, fixing your soil is going to help, soak that water in. There might be a compaction layer not too deep that's keeping all that water from soaking in.
And like he said, the number one way to do that is get the biology in your soil right. But it's hard to say because I don't know if this is something that you could exploit and possibly make a pond out of.
It might be a place where you graze as well, because we had a similar issue, and that's gone now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With all that runoff.
Yeah, but you got to think outside the box, too, in some of these things where it might be something that you could exploit. Okay, maybe that area just wants to be a pond.
Yeah, that might be it, too.
Maybe you got to seep it. I mean, it could be any number of things, but I can't give you any real specific answer without actually seeing it. So, regretfully, I can't do that. But, yeah, just think outside the box. But I wouldn't put no swales in a place where I got too much water. I mean, maybe you want a ditch that takes it away.
Yeah. Got one from Gaffrig, I think. The quartering of troops is happening through a standing army, armed services, supported by our tax dollars. The colonists did not want a standing army.
Absolutely correct.
There we go.
Fact,
Well, you were
Jefferson,
looking for, there was an answer to your question, how, like, it was the only one you couldn't find out how it was being violated.
Well, it's the quartering troops in private homes in peacetime, and it limits it in the time of war in that Third Amendment. So it prohibits it, and it prohibits it in peacetime. But honestly, yeah, standing armies were a massive fear of all the founding fathers right off the bat. The whole notion of a standing army was, and then what do we got? What do we got? So maybe a standing army on these military bases, to a certain extent, I mean, it's not on a private, but maybe it is. I don't know. It's something I'm still not quite 100% sure about.
The last one, Two Turtles Homestead. Check out their YouTube channel, by the way. Transheiser Bush, that definitely needs to be on a shirt.
Yeah.
The one you came up with last episode.
I'm not sure I came up with it. I'm pretty sure I heard it somewhere.
Transheiser Bush.
But, I mean, I think I heard it in passing and then said it without even thinking about it. I'm not sure, man. I hear so many things. Or I see it, but that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
That's why there is no recovery for Transheiser Bush, because you got guys out there saying, well, I'm sure that's becoming a thing like, oh, you're drinking Transheiser Bush, or
how's that beer taste? And they ain't saying beer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
or
that.
you look like you'd be drinking a Bud Light in front of Kmart or Target.
That joke would happen once.
Yeah. I mean, and guys are pack animals, man.
Yeah.
Guys sitting around drinking beer. You let one guy step out of order and they can dog him. They will all come down like a ton of bricks. But yeah, it was the last thing I heard about this whole Budweiser or Bud Light thing is that they couldn't give it away. And we got to get that way on just about everything. But every time I heard, I mean, I don't know this directly, but I've heard through another podcast that Coors has gotten woke.
If you want to get a guy to stop doing anything, just hint that it might be gay.
Yeah.
Just hint at it.
It might. It might. Well, hey, y'all. Hopefully this has been a blessing to you. Until next time, stay alert.
Stay alive.